Do you find yourself overwhelmed by the never-ending chatter in your head? In this video, we delve into the teachings of Buddhism to explore how you can finally achieve a peaceful and serene mind. Lesson 1. The Illusion of Control. In life, we often believe that we can control everything. We try to manage every situation, every relationship, and every outcome. This belief in control creates a constant inner tension. When we think we can control things, we become anxious when things don't go as planned. But Buddhism teaches us that this control is an illusion. We cannot control everything. There are things in life that we cannot change, no matter how hard we try. The more we cling to the idea of control, the more we suffer. We try to control the weather, the actions of others, and the flow of time, but these things are beyond our reach. The reality is that the world moves according to its own rhythm. It flows, it changes, and it evolves regardless of our desires. When we try to control what cannot be controlled, we are setting ourselves up for disappointment. We end up creating stress and frustration because things don't always go the way we want them to. Buddhism teaches us to let go of the need to control. Instead, we should focus on what we can control: our actions, our thoughts, and our responses to life's events. By letting go of the need to control everything, we free ourselves from unnecessary tension. We can stop the mind's chatter by accepting that there will always be things beyond our control, and that is okay. In this acceptance, we find freedom and peace. Letting go of control doesn't mean becoming passive. It means recognizing what is within our power and choosing to focus on that. We cannot change the world, but we can change our perspective on it. We cannot control others, but we can control how we react to them. This shift in focus is one of the key teachings of Buddhism. By accepting that we cannot control everything, we can calm our minds and live with more peace. Lesson 2. Emotional Detachment. Emotions are a natural part of being human. They are powerful forces that shape our actions and thoughts. However, in Buddhism, there is a teaching about emotional detachment. This does not mean being cold or indifferent. Rather, it means observing emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Emotions are like waves in the ocean. They come and go. If we get caught up in the wave, we are tossed around by it. But if we simply observe the wave, we can let it pass by without being affected. In the same way, we can observe our emotions without letting them control us. When we feel angry, sad, or anxious, we don't need to react impulsively. We can take a step back and watch the emotion without attaching to it. By detaching ourselves emotionally from our thoughts, we stop the mind's chatter. We create space between our feelings and our actions, allowing us to respond more thoughtfully and calmly. Buddhism teaches that emotions are not inherently good or bad. They are just experiences. The problem arises when we become attached to our emotions. When we cling to anger or sadness, we suffer. We create mental and emotional storms that cloud our minds and keep us from peace. But when we let go of this attachment, we find clarity. We can allow our emotions to pass through us without being overwhelmed by them. This practice of emotional detachment helps to calm the mind, reduce stress, and restore balance to our lives. By learning to detach emotionally, we also learn to be less reactive. Instead of reacting impulsively to every emotion, we can choose to pause and reflect. This creates space between stimulus and response. It is in this space that we find the power to control our actions and thoughts. Through emotional detachment, we stop the mind's chatter and bring ourselves closer to inner peace. Lesson 3. The Power of Observation. One of the central practices in Buddhism is mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully present in the moment. It means observing our thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without judgment. This simple act of observation can stop the mind's chatter and bring us peace. When we observe our thoughts, we stop identifying with them. Instead of becoming lost in our thoughts, we become aware of them. We notice them without reacting. This practice of observing the mind is powerful because it creates space between us and our thoughts. The more we observe, the more we realize that thoughts are fleeting. They come and go, like clouds in the sky. They don't define us. By observing the mind, we can detach from the constant stream of thoughts and find stillness. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like a monkey, constantly jumping from one thought to another. The key to calming the mind is to observe it without attachment. When we simply notice our thoughts without judging them, we stop feeding the mind's chatter. We let go of the need to control our thoughts or stop them altogether. Instead, we simply observe them as they are, and in doing so, we quiet the mind. Mindfulness is not just about sitting quietly and observing our thoughts. It is about bringing this awareness into every moment of our lives. We can practice mindfulness while walking, eating, or talking. By staying present in each moment, we stop the mind from wandering into the past or the future. We focus on what is happening now, and in doing so, we quiet the mental noise that often distracts us. Lesson 4: Cultivating Attention. Another key teaching in Buddhism is the cultivation of attention. Our minds are often scattered. We jump from one task to the next without fully focusing on any one thing. This scattered attention contributes to the mind's constant chatter. To quiet the mind, we must learn to cultivate focused attention. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like a wild horse. If we don't guide it, it runs off in every direction. The practice of cultivating attention is like learning to tame the wild horse. We direct our attention to one thing at a time, whether it's our breath, a task, or a conversation. When we focus our attention fully, the mind becomes calm. We stop the endless chatter that distracts us from the present moment. Cultivating attention involves training the mind to stay focused. This requires patience and practice. It's not about forcing the mind to be quiet but about gently guiding it back when it wanders. Every time we bring our attention back to the present moment, we strengthen our ability to focus. This practice helps to stop the mind's chatter and brings a sense of calm and clarity. One way to cultivate attention is through meditation. In meditation, we focus on one point of attention, such as our breath or a mantra. As we practice, we become better at maintaining focus and letting go of distractions. This focused attention carries over into our daily lives. When we can pay attention to the present moment, we stop the mind from racing and create a peaceful state of mind. Lesson 5: Acceptance of Thoughts. In Buddhism, there is a teaching about accepting our thoughts without judgment. We often think that we must control our thoughts, push them away, or stop them from arising. But this struggle only makes the mind's chatter worse. Instead of trying to control or suppress our thoughts, Buddhism teaches us to accept them as they are. Thoughts are natural. They come and go, and there is no need to attach to them. When we accept our thoughts without judgment, we free ourselves from the constant mental struggle. We don't need to label our thoughts as good or bad. We simply observe them and let them pass. This acceptance creates a sense of peace because we are no longer fighting with our own mind. Buddhism teaches that the more we resist our thoughts, the stronger they become. When we try to push them away, they come back with more intensity. But when we accept them, they lose their power. By allowing thoughts to come and go without attachment, we stop the mind's chatter and create a space of calm. Acceptance is not about passivity. It's about recognizing that we cannot control every thought. Instead of struggling against them, we embrace them as part of the natural flow of the mind. In this acceptance, we find peace. The mind becomes quieter, and the constant chatter fades away. Lesson 6: Peace through practice. The final lesson in quieting the mind is the importance of consistent practice. Buddhism teaches that peace does not come overnight. It is not something we can achieve with a single thought or a single action. True peace comes through practice. It is a gradual process of training the mind to become more peaceful and focused. The practice of meditation is at the heart of this process. Meditation is a way to train the mind to become calm and still. Through regular meditation, we can quiet the mind's chatter and cultivate a sense of inner peace. Meditation allows us to observe our thoughts without judgment, detach from our emotions, and focus our attention on the present moment. Peace also comes through mindfulness. By practicing mindfulness in our daily lives, we train our minds to stay present. We stop the constant mental noise that keeps us distracted. We focus on what is happening right now, whether it's a simple task or a deep conversation. In this practice, we find peace. The path to peace is not easy, but it is worth the effort. Every moment of practice brings us closer to a quiet mind. Through practice, we stop the chatter of the mind and find a deeper sense of calm and clarity. Peace is not something we can force. It is something we can cultivate through consistent effort and practice. Through the teachings of Buddhism, we learn that the mind's chatter does not have to control us. We can find peace by letting go of the need for control, detaching emotionally, observing our thoughts, cultivating attention, accepting our thoughts, and practicing mindfulness. These teachings offer a path to a quieter, more peaceful mind. It takes patience, practice, and dedication, but with time, we can quiet the mind's chatter and experience the peace that lies within.